Hi everyone, and welcome to day 21. Yes, we are getting closer to the big day. So, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, we're moving away from design development again, and we're going to jump into sensitivity labels, right? Part of Power BI and also other Microsoft 365 applications and items as well. But very quickly, all right, this is more of a I'm not going to demo this, right? But I promise you, if you watch this, you'll feel a lot more comfortable and confident in understanding what sensitivity labels are, because I usually find they are mixed up also with endorsement labels in Power BI, two separate things, right? But anyway, sensitivity labels, I want you to think of it like this. They allow us to take our security and governance beyond Power BI. Why? Well, when you apply a sensitivity label to a Power BI item, such as a report, a semantic model, and maybe elements of it are exported, well, without sensitivity labels, if you export something out and then pass it on to someone outside the organization or even internal who should not be having access to this, well, that's not great. Sensitivity labels allow us to stop this, right? So it extends security beyond or outside of Power BI. Now, how do they work? Well, you have to set up sensitivity labels outside of Power BI. That's an important point to remember. Sensitivity labels are not a Power BI or Microsoft Fabric thing. You set them up in the Compliance Center, which is part of Microsoft Purview. It has changed over the years, right? And again, these are the same sensitivity labels that you can apply in Microsoft Exchange, in Microsoft Office, to Excel, and various different items as well, right? And to do this, ideally, you should involve your global administrator, also any sort of security team or governance team that might be overseeing this as well. So they must configure this, come up with the different labels. And once you have that, you go into Power BI in the admin settings and you can configure it there under information protection, right? So as I said, it prevents data leakage if someone in your organization exports data out from a Power BI report and then wants to pass it on to someone else who should not have access to it. Sensitivity labels through the encryption kicks in and does not allow them to see the data. How good is that, right? Um, the other thing worth calling out, right? Sensitivity labels do not offer any sort of access or restrict access within your Power BI service or Microsoft Fabric, right? So I just want you to keep that in mind as well, right? So from a scenario perspective, if a user exports a Power BI report labeled as high confidentiality, depending on how your organization sets them up, to Excel, PDF, or any other sort of file format that is supported, sensitivity labels through information protection, right, will kick in and they will authorize users who can view the data but restrict those who do not have the relevant permissions. How good is that, right? The other thing I want to call out, last time I checked, you need an Azure Information Protection P1 license or higher to be able to apply sensitivity labels. And lastly, just so we can summarize it, Compliance Center are part of Microsoft Purview, configure them there, the sensitivity labels. Then you go to Power BI or Fabric, I should say, in the admin portal, in the tenant settings, underneath information protection, you can then go ahead and enable it there. So hopefully that was a good overview of sensitivity labels. And be sure to join us tomorrow where I'll be talking about Power BI endorsements or semantic model endorsements.